Hello and welcome to video number 2. This is going to be the video where I'm going to talk about my experience with going to the doctor, my thoughts about going to the doctor, what happened at the doctor's appointment visit, and just go in depth. So stay tuned. I have a lot to say. So let me just say this because it's not something that I talk about because up until now it hasn't really been that relevant. But I do not go to the doctor. I do go on the occasion when I have to fulfill my benefit requirements. But I don't go. My last doctor's appointment visit was back in 2016. And the reason why I don't go is the number one thing that rings out in my mind is the fact that they have already told me that they have no cure for lung cancer. So I'm not going to run up the expense. I'm not going to put myself through it mentally or physically going around the mulberry bush. So I am a logical, rational, calm, emotionally intelligent, results person. And logically, in everything in me, it makes no sense to go to someone and seek advice or seek treatment from someone that doesn't know the answer and frankly doesn't know what they're doing. So the second reason why I do not go to the doctor is because once I begin to get my knowledge, I realize that they're not giving me, they don't even know the very bare essentials to life and how to stay alive, or they don't know it or they're not sharing it. And they don't know how to cure it, but they want to get in my body and manage it. And so the whole thought was, you're going to die without us. And I have been living, and I thank Jesus that I have been living since 2012 without any type of medical intervention, without, in the beginning, any type of knowledge. So I think my track record is better than theirs, when back then I knew several people that also contracted some form of cancer and died. The final reason why I do not go to the doctor is because we do not agree. And I'm saying doctor because this has been my experience with the doctors that I have dealt with, and there's been different variations of how extreme they are, but there's already some type of arrogance, complex, ignorance, denial about the way that God created the body and the body's ability to function and manage and heal. They said, I want to live, and I don't believe that God put us here with a body that was incapable of living, of doing just that. So because we do not agree, and my stuff is based off of my desire to live, my belief in God's word, for by his stripes I am healed, that when I go there, it causes me stress, and it causes friction, and it causes tension, and I basically live a peaceful existence. But it's hard for me, especially after I've gotten all of this knowledge, to just, it's hard. It takes discipline to humble myself and sit there and listen to what they have to say. So I'm not telling anyone not to go to the doctor. I'm not telling anyone not to take their meds or follow their doctor's protocol, especially when someone is not willing to do the work, the back work, and to support and get behind and in line with what their body needs. I mean, the meds are the best way out. And so this year I have, and I'm saying it's not me, because if you're not going to go to the doctor, you have to do something, because you will die. So it's not me, and I'm not all-knowing, but I constantly ask and I seek and I pray and I knock, and my source is God. And it was really put before me. Last year I tried to do that fundraiser, that I needed to start to be more proactive and figure out how I can play the game and get the stuff that I needed. So it was always my plan as of that fundraiser that I was going to go to the doctor. So I not going to be stagnant. I'm going to move forward. And I went to the doctor. So on the 24th of, not 24th, the 24th of this month, I had made myself a well visit appointment. And my objective to go there was to see where I was at. I wanted to know certain minerals, copper, magnesium, zinc, iodine, sulfur. I believe were the minerals that I wanted to know about. I also wanted to know about whether or not they could tell me if I had intestinal parasites. And so right away, I let the doctor know what my objective was. And I also let her know that I have not had a lot of medical intervention. And I always try to stay humble, and I always try to not be combative, argumentative, or challenge someone. So right away, there was confusion, not confusion, but there was conflict because I wanted to get my minerals and vitamins, which I understand are how I'm here alive. It's why we eat. It's why we're supposed to eat the things we're supposed to eat. And she tells me that she can't give me, or she's not going to, or it's against protocol or whatever, she's not going to give me these minerals and vitamins that I was looking for. And she said that the way that it works is, after the blood test, if my blood comes back normal, then she'll do the test for these things that I'm here to find out about. The thing is, my blood isn't going to come back normal, and I had already told her that I was anemic. So it's like I'll never get the things that I'm looking for because they're going to be focusing on this anemia and giving me iron supplements, which do not and have not worked. But I just said okay, because you can't really fight that system. I said okay, and I just said, I'll try to figure it out in my head, pick my battles. So I went and I did everything that she wanted me to do. I did all the testing and all the blood work and the urine sample, and I was hoping to get some of the information that I needed that she was able to give me, which was my magnesium, my copper, and I wanted to know about the parasites. She also told me that one of the tests that I wanted was not for office, was not for office use. It was for clinical use, and that is a whole other conversation. But if this test is going to reveal something about sickness, why wouldn't it be for office use? But anyway, so my appointment was set for the 21st of February, and I was prepared to go to that visit, optimistic, hoping to get some type of information. So this week, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I got a call from the doctor's office, and she's like, the reception is like, can you come in today? And I'm just like, I had to cast down high imagination, because I have never in my whole medical history had a doctor's office after testing tell me to come in that day for some reason. So I was definitely trying to keep it together, trying to stay, say what the Word of God says about me. So, I went into the appointment just really trying to keep myself from having thoughts of crazy thoughts and things like that. And so what she tells me is that, one, my blood is extremely low. Now, she's never seen it before, and I'll give her that, but this is life right now, so I'm just like, okay. And so she was like, I had my mother on the phone, and she was like, I had already told my mom that I wasn't about any type of blood transfusion. Let me just say this. I'm not telling anyone not to do what they feel is right for them. I'm just talking about from my perspective. I've had a blood transfusion before. It was not effective. I don't want to be doing nothing on a regular everyday basis or a routine basis that is outside of eating my food and drinking my water intelligently. But I will use things as a tool to reach my objective, but my whole purpose here, my whole focus and my whole desire is to be redeemed, be completely exonerated and healed, and let my body healed and let my body function and do and manage how it's supposed to manage. So I did a blood transfusion. It was psychologically like too much for me. One, I'm just like, what if there is AIDS in this blood? You know, what if something was missed? There was that aspect of it. Mentally, it was taxing for me. And then just the whole perspective of when you go to donate blood, they, you know, if there's a disease in the blood or the blood is tainted and they can identify that, they of course are not going to give that blood to someone else. But they're not taking out blood if you didn't smoke a cigarette before you went to go donate blood. They're not taking out or getting rid of the blood if, you know, people have questionable lifestyles and stuff like that. I don't want that type of blood in me if I don't have to have it in me. Side note, I had been to the cancer doctor once or a couple times before to meet the medical requirement, but I told him about the intestinal parasites. He also knows that I'm anemic because they've had blood work and things like that. And this is basically my experience with the cancer doctor. They focus on the cancer. I'm anemic. I don't want a blood transfusion. And that was basically the end of that conversation. Oh, they did tell me to get on iron, and I did at that time, but once again, I remained anemic, and I want to solve it. So, about the intestinal parasites, and I showed him pictures. He gave me the clinical response of, oh, that's probably not what that is. That happens only in a third world country. So what I'm just trying to say is I've been to the cancer doctor. He focuses on the cancer, which is the final symptom of a major breakdown in the body per naturalistic, holistic herbal medicine. But the cancer doctor sees the cancer, let's deal with the cancer while all the other dysfunction is going on in the body. So that's all he focuses on, and everything else, it was not an issue. He didn't refer me to a gastro doctor. He didn't refer me to a liver doctor. He didn't even refer me to a blood doctor. So she's telling me that I need to go back to see the cancer doctor because he knows more about my situation and he knows more about the cancer. And he can order the test and he's able to help me. I didn't say anything to her, but thank God I have a lot of sense. I just looked at her. And so she's trying to, basically the point of the visit was for me to manage and deal with her shock and her horror of the situation and the contradictions in my lab results and the way where I look and the fact that I was visually there. The point of the visit was for me to manage and see her shock and horror about my situation and to get me out of her presence as soon as possible. She doesn't want to touch it because my lab work. So my lab work shows that I am a completely healthy, functioning woman. Before I talk about my lab work, let me just say the point of the visit was for her to distance herself from my situation. So why was she so agitated and she was like almost panicked? It was because my blood level is, according to their understanding, is so low that I would need a transfusion. It is so low that I should not have been in the office. It was so low that I should not be awake. She asked me how I felt, and I told her I feel the way that I always feel. I say some days I have a bad day, but today is not that day. If I was having a challenging day, I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be awake. I would be asleep. I would be in the bed. I would not be answering any phones or anything like that. But I'm only going to do what I can do. And I'm in the office and I'm, here, cognizant, aware, responsive, and I feel the way that I feel. Normal. This is my normal. And so she just looked at me and shook her head like that's not possible. And so after that, she started going through, she told me one other thing which got me to the spleen video. Check that video out. But she told me that I had an enlarged spleen. And she asked me, had anybody had ever told me that? And I said, no. So that was one good thing that came out of that visit. I found out that my spleen is enlarged. So I have my test scores, and I was going to go through them, but I thought against it because I really am not versed in it. I did look up several things on my own, but I don't have a great understanding, and she frankly did not explain any of it to me. She just basically told me everything checked out normal and I need to go to the cancer doctor. But there were indications in this lab work that suggest that my spleen would be inflamed because there is infection or virus or something going on in my kidneys or in my lungs or something like that. But we discussed none of that. But everything basically on my urine came back negative, normal, except this marker, which I will show here, says that I'm fighting, there's an infection or something like that, something. So because my lab work, other than the fact that I'm anemic, all of the things that they check are within or meets or exceeds what they're supposed to be in a positive way. And there are some other things that were low that went along with my blood. So she doesn't, she's confused, and I'm certainly confused. And I'm saying to myself, she knows that I'm battling and I'm healing from lung cancer. How is it that everything that you all are looking at is not telling you anything about actual disease in the body, So you have to be, I guess, completely broken down to show up on these test results. You have to be at a chronic level. And from my understanding, through naturopathic education, you cannot have lung cancer in your body and there not be issues in your liver. You can't do it. But my liver function came back that it's normal functioning and okay, but through naturopathic understanding, I understand that they can't even tell if your liver is bad until it is like all the way bad. So you would have lost more than half of your liver, and then they'll say, oh, there's something going on with your liver, because that's all their tests are able to detect. So I have some type of liver function, but cancer can't exist in me and my liver be okay. But because the test said it was okay, when I told her that I would like to go see a liver doctor, she said, what for? There's no evidence to support that you need to go. She said it's okay. So I also, because I'm not really interested in their testing, because their testing is not telling me the crucial information that I want to find out and get to the answers that I want to get to as to what's going on in my lungs and what else could be going on in my kidneys or my liver. I had stuff that I wanted to know, so I began to ask her about my magnesium and my copper. And let's just say she snapped at me. And I don't have to be, and I'm not rude or, over dignified or self-righteous, because this is my life. You can catch more flies with honey. And I'm just, asking her normal questions that you should be able to ask. And she's basically trying to wrap my folder up and send me out. So I just was like, wait a minute, what about the things that I came for? One, the fecal test was MIA, it was missing, and I'm just thinking, okay, okay. And she was like, it's not here. I don't know what happened to it. But she tells me, never mind about that, because you have no, there's no way that you can, long and short, there's no way that you can have parasites. So don't worry about that. What you need to worry about is getting back to the cancer doctor. So I'm just listening to her, you know. Then I ask her about those minerals that she was able to tell me about, minerals and vitamins. And she basically tells me they're normal. I don't need to be worrying about it. She's the doctor. She's went to school, and she knows what to worry about and what to look at. And that's basically what she told me. What she actually told me was, just because I read a paragraph or a book doesn't mean that I know more than she knows. And I wasn't rude. I was just, she was trying to push me out the door, and I'm just saying, wait a minute, one moment. What about these things? And she paid them no mind. So someone, I'm sorry I do not remember the name, but there was a conversation that I had in one of my videos about the kidney and gallbladder flush, and there was this young lady that shared with me her story, a little bit of it, and she was talking about the so she was telling me about Mosley Robbins, and I will link the videos in the description box. But I watched So They Say You're Anemic, and I also watched another video about his perspective on healing and life, which I will link below. But there was a lot of information, and it kind of prepared me for the office visit, and actually gave me what I wanted to look for when I went to the office visit. But based on his information, what I gather is that just because you have copper and iron present in your body, this does not mean that your body is handling it and processing it correctly. And when that doesn't happen, it causes breakdown, disease, and toxicity in the body. So that is why I wanted to find out these things that she told me were irrelevant. So, you know, my copper can't be on point, and you can't tell in this lighting, but I'm graying severely. You know, there's something going on with my copper. Well, why? How do I know that? Because the rest of my siblings are not graying the way that I'm graying, and other things in my body support the fact that there's something else going on with copper. But I will link that video in the description box too, talking about the deregulation of copper. So she basically didn't give me anything that I wanted, even though I played her game, because she was going on the authority that she's educated and she's a doctor, and I am nothing but a simple peasant person. And I found this particularly shocking, and I'm just going to say I found it particularly shocking because you're a doctor and you see people in and out of here all day long, and what you say and what you do to them may or may not, you know, if you're, as long as you're following the protocol and they die under your care, your conscience is clear because you followed the protocol and you did it to the rule book. So their life really isn't in your hands because you're following what the limited information that you have. I'm not a doctor, but this is me. It's my life. It's my person. And for her, and I want to live, and I have frankly been doing that. So her telling me that I basically don't know what I'm talking about, and she's a doctor, I found that, and I did not jump crazy with her. I just said, when she got agitated with me, I just got my adrenals together, and I just said, okay, I understand. This is what I told her. But she's telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about. I already said at the beginning of the video, they already have said that they don't know the answer to cancer, lung cancer specifically. So you don't know what you're talking about actually. You don't know what you're doing actually. Your lab tests are saying that I'm a perfectly functioning, healthy person and I have cancer. But I don't know what I'm talking about. But everything that you have is not helping me or addressing cancer. I don't know what I'm talking about when you all, the doctors, the ones that I've seen, said that I was to be dead in 2012 and without, I was going to be dead anyway, with or without chemo. And thank you, Jesus, I am alive, and it's 2019. But I don't know what I'm talking about, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know what to focus on. There is definitely some sort of an issue or breakdown there, but I didn't want to hash that out with her. That is not why I was there. And me coming down on her and telling her frankly the truth of the matter is not going to help the situation, because she gets, checked or whatever, and then the rest of the doctors continue to do what they're doing and basically leading to a lot of people to death and unnecessary breakdown in their body. So that's why I do my videos, to share. So I am not a person that allows anyone to give me their negative energy. If someone has a problem or they have whatever's going on, I let them keep it, and I protect my adrenals, and I remain calm, and I tell myself whatever I need to tell myself to stay calm and not become upset. Also, another reason why I don't like going, and it goes along with what I say, I don't like my situation to be trivialized, either way, in a positive way or in a negative way. Back in 2012, when I went to the doctor, the chemo doctor, it was, you're going to die. You're a dead woman, basically. You have an aggressive cancer, and it's growing and it's spreading, and you're dead. And Jesus profound the people that think they're wise. So I dealt with that feeling, and that, that's not, I'm saying it calm, but that was terrifying to have somebody tell you in your face that you're going to die. That, and not just say it, it's like somebody with, they have proof and evidence, and you have all these commercials and all these experiences with people dying. That is hard to stomach. And then what I now deal with when I go to the doctor is, oh, your type of cancer is passive, and it's really unpredictable, and it's slow moving, and it's not aggressive. And that to me is that I have to really grab my adrenals at that point, because I'm like, it's like bipolar in here. So I don't like their attitude. I don't like their comments. I don't like their spirit. I don't like how they always try to position themselves to be right, and they have a little bitty small perspective on what's going on, because they're not working with the body. And that's my whole problem. The pharmaceutical drugs, from my understanding and from the research, get your knowledge, is out there. Them pharmaceuticals don't work, but what they are effective in doing is masking your body's symptoms. They mask what your body is doing to communicate, to disrupt your life, to make you uncomfortable, so that you can get up and take some action. But rather than do that, we go and we pop a pill and we say, body, shut up. And them symptoms, eczema or whatever, that is not I'm embarrassed about the eczema, go hide the eczema. And it's not to go get something that will clear the eczema up, because that eczema is the final result of something else going on deep down inside. And apparently it's with your kidneys and your liver. So here is my final commentary on the video and my experience. And I wanted to say it in the beginning, but I imagine I probably would have lost some people if I had started out this way. But when dealing with an ominous threat of death, of loss of limb, a breakdown, of a threat upon your life, I do not understand how, I don't get it how people can do it all by themselves, within themselves, and live that without having any type of, it's like you're living in a state of torture, a mental torture. And I don't know how anybody does that without God. It's hard enough for me, being saved, loving and knowing Jesus and his sacrifice and accepting that, to maneuver and deal with the communications that you get at the doctor's office, the negative reports. Even after, when they called me, it was like stuff I had to mentally deal with. And that stuff causes reactions in the body that will get the adrenals going and make you sicker. So it was like me knowing and believing in God that was challenging for me to hear. I cannot even imagine what someone that doesn't believe or doesn't, that's torture, that is cruel. That was hard for me, and I had to, I immediately began to pray and immediately began to cast down high imagination, because I never, had any doctor call me and say, we need you to see you right now. And even after just going to the doctor and them trivializing or making my situation more extreme than it is, or not as extreme as it needs to be, or me going to the doctor and them telling me that, my spleen, there's something going on with my spleen, and then me going and looking at that information and realizing that they're saying that could be, there's a lot of things that it could be, but it could be a spread of cancer and things like that, or a breakdown in your kidneys or your liver. Handling that information all within myself, I would go crazy. I don't understand how anyone can do it all by themselves, and I don't understand how anyone can do it and live and survive and do it under the doctor's care and under just putting your trust solely in them. I'm just like, wow. For me, when I get challenged just like anyone else, but I talk to God. And not only do I talk to God so that it's not a one-way communication where I'm talking about I'm afraid and God help me and heal me, and I need this and I need that, and this is what's going on and this threat, and so it's not a one-way communication. I read my Bible, because that lets me know without hearing the voice of God, and that lets me know without, getting an inclination, some kind of spiritual inclination, what God says about me and my situation. And furthermore, the Bible is an encouragement for me. It lets me know what God is capable of and what He has for me. It also lets me know how to communicate back with Him and how to think about situations when they arise. So, for instance, in this situation, my brain was racing, and that'll have my adrenals going. I'm anemic. They're extremely low blood. I can't afford to have my heart beating really fast, because I'll have a situation where I'll run out of oxygen in my lungs. So it's like I begin to speak the word of God. I'm casting down high imaginations. Keep myself calm. I just wanted to say that I am physically in the natural living this thing and doing this thing, but I'm not doing it by myself. And this is the prime example. I do not have all the information. I'm literally sharing as I find out things, and even the stuff that I do know, I'm still in the dark, and I have to continuously be in conversation with God and reading His Word to remain encouraged and receive direction in situations like this, because I don't know anything. I don't know what to even look at. Do you know what I'm saying? So I believe that's all that I wanted to say. Until next time, thanks for